Welcome, everybody, to episode 19 of Rules Arena. This episode is brought to you by Blind Ninja Studios, where you can find this show and others, such as Department of Defense, a show hosted by experts on nothing and who are almost certainly wearing pants, not guaranteed. You can also listen to Homebrew Bound, a show dedicated to helping you make the best beer possible, and Soundwave, a show hosted by Matt and Carlos, keeping you up to date on all things music. Last but not least, you can also listen to Legends of Lothos, who are entering their second season tomorrow. Is that right, Casey?
Well, for listeners of this podcast, it'd be last Monday.
Last Monday. For anyone that likes that plays D&D like I do on occasion. And this episode is also brought to you by Duck Hill Workshop, a small-scale sawmill that brings you, or that are builders of fine furniture. You can find them on
sawmill. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Learning things.
You can find them online at duckhillworkshop.com, or you can also find them on YouTube at Duck Hill Workshop, and Instagram at Duck Hill Workshop, all one word.
It's amazing. My SEO is really good.
Yeah, mine's not.
We'll see about that.
This week's episode, I'm sitting down with Kaaren and Greg of Farm to Fist. I'm also joined by Ben, my co-host, and my super producer, Casey.
Super de Medusa.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to roll into like a Flintstones moment.
I apologize to everybody that's been listening. I have been out of town the last couple of weeks. I have flown out I was in Orlando for a week. I came back for about a day and a half, 2 days. And then I flew out directly to Cleveland for this last week. And thank Christ I'm back home. I'm done sleeping.
Did you yell like "Hello Cleveland" or anything while you were?
No, but I did
almost start a riot.
I almost got mugged, and I got offered to buy cocaine off of somebody.
Did you buy cocaine?
So I mean that was no.
Bold.
I didn't know them, so I didn't know what it's laced with.
I hear fentanyl's a bitch.
Casey, what the hell have you been up to?
Not buying cocaine.
Well.
All right, let's see. I have been up to... Dude, I got some really shiny new fermenters that I'm just very excited about.
You're talking about that on DOL.
Yeah. I laid with him last night.
I guess you got to break them in somehow.
Right.
It's the only way to get them working right.
They need some TLC, you know?
Yeah. Snuggle with it. Warm it up.
No, yeah. So I did that. Did some brewing in below zero weather, and I had to create like a cold sink to make sure my propane tanks didn't freeze with a bunch of boiling water in my tub, and it was a good time. Said nobody ever, but I got 2 batches. I was slow though, so I'm out of practice. This is my first brew in 2-ish months because I took a well-deserved break after the 80 style challenge, and then so I got back into the swing of things, and it took me 7 hours instead of 6 to do the 2 beers, and so I'm a little upset about that, but
Not bad.
Ben, how's your first month of self-employment or unemployment?
Unemployment.
We're not asking my wife. It's been good. It's been a little frustrating trying to just catch the shop back up after a lot of months of abuse and negligence.
Why did you abuse your shop?
I didn't abuse my shop. The other people that use my shop may have.
But they told me that they didn't do anything in your shop for the last few years. What's the problem?
The story's not adding up.
No,
is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just every time I find something new that needs to be replaced or repaired, and that's been a fun challenge. I don't want to talk into it there, Casey.
I don't care what you
Don't
want.
touch my microphone. God, red touch.
You did audio for how long? Like, you're the last person I should have to adjust a mic for.
Here, is that good?
That's actually way
put
better.
my nose right on it. I turned my gain up a little bit.
If you eat the mic, it's okay.
It's got the windscreen. I can put it in my mouth. No, it's been really good. I finally, Glenn and I got some milling in 2 days ago, Friday. So that was nice to finally, I think it's been a year since I've had the mill set up.
It's Glenn, your dad.
No, Glenn is not my dad. Glenn's a good friend of mine who...
No, and by mill, he actually means jerry-rigged chainsaw.
It is not
to
jerry-rigged.
some
It's a
fucking-
legitimate chainsaw mill.
It's
With a
legitimate chainsaws
yeah.
in the configuration.
I mean, it's a dirt bike motor mounted to 60 inches of...
death.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tray
12
rig.
feet of chain.
We need to talk with him.
You're that's what you're doing now.
For our hot polls.
Like, that's what a podcast
Oh, we can do that.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Can you help us debark our poems, please?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that a euphemism?
You-
What?
you-
This just got weird. Granted, I did watch DOO, or the beginning part of it. I came in right at the Lego porn scene.
We were debarking poles.
Oh, yes. It was all very tame.
Aggressively.
It was all very tame.
God damn it.
You're welcome.
Ages much older than 12 and up. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, this whole, yeah. We've
as,
surpassed
as,
that.
As Ben Wife has pointed out many a time, she's not allowed to have her students listen to the show.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's not family. It's not a family show. If you're
It's
listening
not a family
to episode
network.
15. Anyway, this week's episode, I'm sitting down with Kaaren and Greg. Farm to Fist. They are part brewery, part hop farm, part wedding event center, if you will, and part flower shop. Thanks for both coming down. For anybody listening, why don't you two introduce yourselves a little bit?
I'm Kaaren.
I'm Greg.
So we are married and we started a business a couple of years ago. I guess a few years ago, before we were married, called Farm to Fist, and it's just what Gordon described. It's a brew farm, flower farm, and wedding event venue. So basically, we grow hops and brew beer with those hops, and we also grow flowers. And we want people to come out to our farm and get married. So come out to our farm and get married and drink our beer and use our flowers that we grew all here. So it seems sometimes it can seem a little bit complicated that it's so multifaceted, but really when you put it all together, it sort of makes sense. And we're doing everything on a pretty small scale. So I think that's why we're able to kind of do these different things and make them all work, because they're on a smaller scale.
Yeah,
So.
and an acre of hops and an acre of flowers. Certainly plenty to be
Yeah.
able to do what we want to
Plenty.
do.
Plenty to do.
And but still, allows us to have a little fun with it and experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of what we're looking to do, is not necessarily always be something that's repetitive and the same thing each year, but a little bit unique and provide a unique experience for people.
Yeah, talking off here, you said you have, 11 acres?
Our
just
farm
south?
is 23 acres.
23. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, our land itself, we have 23 acres.
We're gonna
And-
grow some pumpkins.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're
Some
just
apple
south-
trees.
You're outside of Hammond, Wisconsin,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we're south of Hammond. So really, we're only 35 minutes from the Twin Cities, 40 minutes from the Twin Cities.
On the right side of the border.
The good side,
The correct side.
It's where you lose
Debate
that blue handicap license plate and you get a good one.
Debatable. Debatable.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but we're really, we're less than 40 minutes from the Twin Cities. But we're also, you feel like when you're out at our farm, you feel like you're, somewhere special, I think. So
Yeah, what you described it as, Ben, yesterday, the rustic, is it? Or
What?
we were talking about, because Glenn, who
Yeah.
runs a wedding venue. Rustic, is that the
Yes. is how we describe it. It's a rustic venue.
Yeah. Exactly.
Trying not to be necessarily amongst the highly populated sort of barn.
Yes. No,
Wedding
no
venue?
one. The barn trend is hopefully dying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and people love that, and that's to be respected. But
So people want to get married in a barn, but you can't be born in one of those. You don't know how to shut a door.
This is true. Yeah. So we're looking to really just sort of embellish on being outdoors. That's really the concept. Is that you're outdoors and you're experiencing the elements, and also have some protection
From them.
from them to a certain extent, and then also seeing the hops. The hops are something that are pretty special.
Yeah. Yeah. So our venue, in our wedding event venue, it's like a transparent wedding tent sort of, and you're in the wedding event venue in this transparent wedding tent and this covered patio area, but you're also less than 100 feet away from a hop yard, and in your distance you're overlooking a flower field, and you feel like you're outside versus inside.
What varieties of hops are you guys growing?
Oh man.
A number.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what gives us an advantage, right? As in terms of versus being someone who is dependent on selling your hops commercially to brewers in the area. Like we always want to. We've talked with a bunch of people. Say, what are you interested in? What are you brewing with? What would you want to brew with? All of that. But we also we have the opportunity, because we're brewing with our own hops. We can grow what we want, and we're doing it all on a small scale. So we aren't dependent on that. Okay, well, we have this much acreage and we have to be able to sell everything that we grow and make those books work. So we're able to grow, okay, so we want to grow if we're growing an acre of hops, we can say we want to have this percentage of our plants be Cascade and this percentage of our plants be Centennial. But we can say, you know what, we want to grow a row of Sriracha Ace because we can. And you know what, if it turns out smelling like dill one year, shucks, that really
We're making Aquavit beer.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But if it turns out like lemon, if you get the Sriracha Ace lemon, like hell yeah, that's awesome. So
Sriracha Ace and Galena.
Galena
right?
and oh my gosh, we have So we're hoping to source.
List them.
Just do it.
Probably written them down then, I guess. Before. Yes. No, we have a bunch of different varieties.
Okay.
And so, but I think, I guess our hope is that we can utilize those for we're brewing with our own hops. So that's kind of where we have an advantage, that we get to experiment, that's the exciting part, is that we get to do that,
So from the brewing side, you were talking a little bit before the show. You guys have kind of a small system right now, right? And you're working on upgrading that?
Yes. Yeah, we're looking to upgrade to somewhere around a half barrel to barrel system, which we feel like will then be able to support some of the weddings and stuff that we're looking to do. And also allow us to do things on some relative consistency. And I think one of the challenges is moving from a 5-gallon system like we're on right now to something like a 15 to 30 plus gallon system.
So you're doing like kind of like what Frederickson did at Pitchfork, going to like homebrew on steroids.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And so you're not necessarily looking for a tap room per se. You're more, we're a wedding event center and we can put beer on tap for you.
For a year, we are not planning to necessarily obtain all of the high level of permitting and restriction that comes with selling your beer. That just comes as part of the event center.
Ooh.
And so for
Interesting loophole.
yeah,
It is an interesting loophole.
for
just
our
give
for
it
our
away.
first year,
Is there any
it's,
way for hardcore beer nerds like myself that maybe want to come in and just sample for a quick minute?
If you
There are
know
free
us,
samples.
and there's
There's-
free samples that we're not selling
Yep.
to anyone.
If there's this really cool podcast I know about that'd be happy to do an episode.
Well,
on
also,
it.
like I was just thinking about the massive faux pas that happened where they came to a podcast and didn't bring any beer. Like,
I
I'll stand up for them
brought
because
some.
know.
they
I know it's
they
in the car. Sorry,
You
Why is it
left
in
it
the
in the car?
it's in the car. Sorry.
go get it.
we'll
We
pay-
salvaged
It is
what
frozen.
we could. We salvaged what we could.
Yeah, Greg, go get it.
Talk about triumphs and
No, I'm curious about this story now. What happened?
the polar vortex.
Oh, okay. The polar vortex. Yeah, that ruined everything.
Polar
We had-
vortex ruined
we had a
everything,
good-
including cases and cases of beer.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
like
no.
3 cases of beer that froze and exploded.
Yeah. That
Oh,
was,
wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But you
it's
know what?
unfortunate.
We'd love to try it.
Lesson learned. Lesson.
Right? Learn.
Learn.
Yeah, it's. So, like, did you just have it, like, was it stored in a garage, or?
Yeah, which is relatively like
Should be temperature stable,
what
mostly.
is very temperature stable, but not
Until it hits
stable
minus
enough.
30.
Yep.
Minus, like, but minus 60 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's,
It was
like, that's. It,
Too damn cold.
I heard it described as it was cold enough that they didn't have a color on the weather map for it.
You can only get so white.
Yeah.
No, and that's what it was. Is like it was white and then clear. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Well,
and we
Gordon,
were in clear.
You work in paint. Do you have a color for that? I mean,
Yeah, black.
Death.
Do not paint in this
Yeah.
temperature.
Do not leave your
no-
home. Do not.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me, like, can I put this paint down on, below 35? No. Well, it says on the no. What about no?
Also, you shouldn't be outside at that time.
Yeah, no.
Go inside,
well,
paint a
we
different
have
day.
some industrial products that can be applied below, I think like 20 degrees, maybe 15. Is
I want
like
that.
the low end?
I want like the paint where they measure it in kelvins, where you can like paint in like
Yeah, good luck. That's what that is.
on that sciencey paint.
Oh my god! No, yeah, but like I was in Orlando, and when that first snowstorm hit here in western Wisconsin, I text my brother up north, and I'm like, "Hey, how bad's the weather?" And he goes, "Well, there's about 12 to 18 inches on the ground." I'm like, "Neat." So I flew back. Thankfully, that's after it kind of warmed up a little bit in that 40-degree range and a little bit melted. But then 2 days later, I fly out and I'm in Cleveland, and it's 50 degrees there, and I look, and like the first major snowstorm really hits, and like, oh, you got 12 inches. I'm like, son of a bitch. Fly back on a Friday. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go home after this podcast recording.
You know this is a
And I
Midwest
look like-
podcast.
Yeah.
You keep talking about the weather.
And then all of a sudden, the snow is going to be going from Sunday night, which we're recording, or Sunday that we're recording on, through Tuesday, and upwards of 18 inches. I'm like, son of a bitch.
I also like that the person who's super proud of being from Wisconsin is continuously bitching about the weather.
That's how you know you're from the Midwest.
Yes.
That's the only thing you complain about.
Yeah.
The weather in your local sports team.
And there's a
Especially
lot
if
of
you're from
other
Minnesota.
factors in that I'm not going to get into on air, not including.
And that's
the
been
Mason-Dixon
meteorological
line.
hour with Gordon.
Sucks. There, I'm looking at
We have,
20 inches of snow in my
we
fucking
have-
driveway right now.
We have Gordon Hale on weather.
Anyways.
to go back.
Yeah, no, let's talk
Kaaren-
about the guest.
Yeah. Oh, you're here.
Oh, welcome. So,
Kaaren, in your words, if I'm a potential client, what exactly is Farm to Fist in your words?
Well, it depends. I guess it. Are you here to drink beer?
yes.
Whoa.
Are you here to
Always.
get married?
Sometimes.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for us, there's a particular clientele, I think, that that works really well with us, right? So if you're a couple that's getting married, I mean, I have our hop yard planned out so that we have a wedding ceremony space within our hop yard, right? I mean, you want to get married in the hops? Cool. That's awesome. You know, not everybody wants to do that, you know, but there's a particular clientele that I think that does, and that we are unique for, you know? So, yeah. Greg just brought our terrible
Ooh, Icebox.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly
our
right.
poor
There's a
beer,
little bit of.
frozen beers in.
Let that one thaw.
We can run a long episode. Let these thaw out.
Oh, they suffered
go
from
put 'em in the
polar
hot, like-
vortex.
What is this?
We don't.
We don't know.
Oh, I have some of those.
Awesome.
Here, open this. What is it? Is it good?
Yeah.
Here's you not watching on camera. This is a unmarked bomber, and it's
Mostly
We
frozen.
think that might be our smoked porter.
fantastic.
Mm.
To
I
be
did
fair
one of
though, I
those.
accidentally let a couple bombers freeze in my trunk, and I forgot about them because I was sick, and I cracked one. Like, do I let it age or do I just fucking drink it? And it came out perfect after like 3 or 4
Hey.
days of being frozen. So
Okay.
they should be fine.
All right. Well,
It didn't break the bottle, so.
yeah. There's a lot of lessons learned along the way, but
But that's what it's about. So say you're a patron or a potential
yeah, for sure.
couple coming to the farm. What like describe it? Driving in, what do you see?
Yeah. So we have a pretty long driveway. We're offset from the highway, which is an advantage for us in terms of couples being offset, and you feel like you're off the highway, but also an advantage legally, and getting the township to.
There's a long county-owned road that extends about half-mile back to our property, and once you get there, then we'll take it from there, and you come to the tap room space, and which is a large pole shed, and that will also be partially the wedding event space, which will be largely covered, but open,
Like a covered
Yeah.
patio, sort of.
like
you know
a
what I mean?
like a
Yeah.
like probably, I mean, 60 feet by 40 feet.
Yeah.
60 by 40 feet. So a large covered patio space, and then beyond that will be the hop farm. So you'll come in, you'll see, it'll just be sort of crops and
Yeah, as you drive in, you'll see pumpkins and shit, whatever. And then you get to the space where there's parking. You see the barn and the covered patio area space. Adjacent to that, behind that, is our transparent wedding tent. And then from that area, then you get to see the back half of the property, which is really the gem, I think, especially in the evening as the sun is setting. It just sunsets over. I mean, that's what I love. I hate to admit it because I'm from Minnesota, but that's what I love about this area of Wisconsin is that it's these beautiful rolling hills that. The land is varied, but not too varied, and the sun sets over this hill. And as you look at the sunset, you can see this hop yard, and the flower field, and so that's kind of what you're looking at as you're looking out over the space, which I think is really unique, and I think for a couple that wants to get married outside. And be a part of nature and the outside, then that's that's what you're looking for.
Nice. That's awesome.
Have you run into, or what kind of challenges did you run into with like zoning within
Yeah.
the city and everything?
TBD.
It's a continuous challenge. It's absolutely a continuous
Yeah.
challenge. So the benefit that we have is that we are zoned appropriately to do what we want to do, and that we're agricultural to
Did
zoning.
you have to jump into that? Like did you look at that first, or did you buy your property and then look into that?
Well,
It absolutely factored into
we were looking at it at every property that we looked at when we were looking to buy a property. But this place just happened to work out well for us.
And how did you find that? I mean, did you go online to
We went
the city
online
ordinance,
to,
or are you able to call somebody?
WGS Extreme is your way to be able to map out everything that you want to know about St. Croix County, and understand, who your neighbors are also, but also, how
Which
your
we
property
love.
is,
Shout out to our neighbors. We love them.
how your property is zoned, all those things, all that information, your lines.
Anyone not listening, and you want to do something similar to this, go look up your county, look up the state that you work in or that you live in, and,
Yep.
and look up this kind of information.
Yep, there absolutely is information on that. And ability to map that. And we use that resource, honestly, on probably
Almost a daily basis.
almost a daily basis, because it allows you to, map things and chart things on a very high level, so that you can sort of see what space you're looking at as far as determining, okay, well, this is going to be our parking space, or this is going to be our entertainment space, or whatever it might be. So yeah,
But when you're looking
tool.
at properties, yeah, exactly. It's not just about like, oh, I watch House Hunters and I want a man
Yeah.
cave and his and her closets, and you know what I mean? Like, no one cares about that when you're planning a farm and a business around the farm. I don't care if I have his and her closet.
No,
You know
I
what
mean, that sounds really nice, though.
It does sound nice.
But we watch a lot of House Hunters, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh my gosh, I wish life was that easy. That like, they have all these like house.
What's the one with the couple that goes in and they renovate the houses too?
Oh, there are 8 million versions of that, but that's Flip or Flop. But yeah.
Not
I
that
have
you watched
found
that
the
one.
best source of knowledge for like reality TV ever. Like, she's amazing.
She knows it all.
When
Yeah, right.
you bought the
Well,
property,
yikes.
sorry, when you bought the
do-
property, did you look at the city, or did the city tell you like, well, this section is available for zoning A, but this section's available for zoning B, and over here you can zone C.
Yeah,
Did any of that
so-
come up?
So that's all like available through the county. So we definitely looked at all of that county information before we purchased any of the property. We were in contact with the county, contact with St. Croix County. And another really important factor, which we did consider, but didn't know how challenging or great it would be, are the soil maps, right? So when you're buying a farm, it's really important to understand sort of what you're getting into in terms of what type of crop are we planting, and what type of soil might that crop like or dislike, and what are we getting ourselves into, because guess what, it's a 30-year mortgage, and you don't just like experiment. you know?
I actually did deliveries. I drove down to Iowa and pick up soil
sorry.
samples from a farm, from
I
farms
sympathize.
rather, and bring back to be tested. I mean,
Yeah.
how did you, what's the easiest way or best way that you have found to find someone that does these soil samples? Because it's not, as I
question.
figure out,
Yeah.
you can't exactly walk down to your local store and go, hey, test my soil. I mean,
No, but you can. I mean, there are options to. You can do your own at home. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy a soil tester. I can do my own. You know, you can buy your own kits, but you can also do it through like your local DNR or your local county. You can go to the county and say, here's my soil test. You know, can you look at this? There are a lot of actual really awesome resources
It's between $30 to $70 to do your own high level soil testing that's done through the.
And there are independent organizations that will do it too, and then also recommend soil amendments.
The company I worked for was here, based out of St. Croix County, and I'd basically drive down. There'd be half dozen farms, and they'd have a 55-gallon bag of these like little 1-inch little baggies twist tied off of their soil, based at how X amount of feet away from the other one, and grant that's at a bunch. It is a huge commercial scale that they were working at.
Right.
And they could then measure like, oh, in this plot is this, and I need to put in X fertilizer in this other spot, kind of deal.
Right.
Beyond.
And it's so important. Like, oh man, when we first moved in June of this last year, we didn't plant any hops yet. We hadn't planted any hops. We hadn't planted any flowers. We were just putting in our own garden, our family garden, and oh man, we're so excited. We're finally in this home. We get to plant a garden. Greg went through and he got the whole garden space prepped. He put up a fence around. We call it Fort Knox because Greg made this big fence that no critter could get into. Worked so hard, and then I went to plant.
Peter Rabbit never seen nothing like this.
Yeah. Seriously, right?
Fuck you, James Corden.
But seriously. Right? So, and then I went to plant, and I stuck a shovel. I had all these plant starts that I was so, it was just like so symbolic of our whole like future, and I'm so excited, and I put a shovel in the ground, and it was literally just tink, like so just pure clay, so hard, so terrible. And I spent the entire day I had a pitchfork and I was just digging, trying to aerate. I was trying to dig up anything I could, and just had blisters all over, and I cried so hard that day because you're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? What if all of our land is like this? What if this is our future? I don't like this future.
We're clay farmers now.
There's a
Would
huge
you like to
industry
make
with high
pots?
schools.
Well, our business plan has changed.
We'll have
from
an art
here
colony.
We can't go hops, but would you like to make pots? Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
A whole wedding party.
We have an
making
entire
pots.
ghost package.
Yeah.
that you-
Farm to Fist now is farm clay to
Farm to pot.
mugs, clay mugs. We now grow
really
clay
shitty
mugs.
ashtrays.
It was just
Lowest
like-
quality.
Yeah, the lowest quality. Oh my goodness! I just cried because I thought, what did we do? What did we do? Oh my goodness! But we ended up plowing, and we had looked at the soil maps before we bought the house, and so I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? But then when we plowed up the back end of the property this fall, it had been a pasture for the last at least 15 years. It had never been planted with crops as long as we know, and it was turning the plow over. It was just like liquid gold, like eureka.
Very good soil. Yeah.
It's been pasture. It's been fertilized.
Yeah,
It's
well, lots
been
of
fertilized for many years.
lots
Yeah.
of poop.
To backtrack a little bit, where did you come up with the name Farm to Fist? What's that mean?
I think I came up with it.
I think you did. I'll give you that.
Yes, dear.
What a good
Yeah,
husband.
yes. No, but seriously, I think I did. No, part of the whole concept of Farm to Fist, it is really based on the farm to table movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're growing the hops on your land. It's locally grown. It's locally sourced, and then you're producing that product from what you grow. So, yeah, it was like farm to table, but you know, you drink cheers. You know what I mean? It's farm to fist. You have a pint of beer in your fist, and then when we explain it to flowers too, it's like, oh, well, now we have a fistful of flowers. Yeah, well, that's convenient. We've had a little bit of trouble with our name because
certain irregulars at the tap room.
Oh,
did you hear any of that yet?
yes,
Because-
I have.
Okay.
I have heard about that. Not funny.
To give some background, myself and Kaaren, I used to work at Pitchfork Brewing. Kaaren still works there, and there's a group of folks that drink there regularly that call themselves the Irregulars.
Folks is a generous term for
They
those
are
folks.
not the classiest of people you're gonna run into.
You guys
I think they
can't
should
even
charge them
complain 'cause
rent.
you're
I'm
part-
pretty sure
you-
they live
you
there.
qualify, I feel.
I feel like we are a cut above.
Yeah, because well,
barely.
That's debatable.
Kaaren, no, when we get off air, I'll
Depends on
tell
how
you
much
some of the
Lego porn you're
questions I was
watching.
told to ask today.
Oh yeah, no, that's some great fucking radio right there, Gordon.
No.
I will bring this up and then not talk about it.
If you heard the questions, you wouldn't bring them up on DOL.
Oh boy.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying you should have brought him up.
We could talk about how you got to this point. How did the idea for this come about? Because I know, Greg, you're a physician's assistant.
To kind of dovetail off that, what exactly made you? What was the idea that made you want to go into business?
Yeah, so as I was studying to be a PA, a physician assistant, we considered a lot of different options as far as our future, and being able to own something that's our own moving forward. And just because I'm a PA doesn't mean that my son or daughter can be a PA. And we wanted to leave behind some sort of potential legacy dependent on our business. And so Farm to Fist was sort of our ability to do that. And a challenging...
No pressure for our kids though.
Yeah, right.
You do what you want to do.
You do
Yeah.
what you want to do.
You do, you
but
guys.
it is.
But you better keep the brewery going.
You better not disappoint us.
Hashtag don't fuck up.
Exactly. But no, I mean honestly, the concept of being able to have them participate in the business itself and learn more about that is something that we were both very interested in. And also, if it works out for them and where we're at with things, to have them be able to continue on with the business for years, that's great. We love that. But either way, it'll always be a special place. The property never changes. The improvements that we make to the property never change. They only benefit us and people who we bring out to the space. And, that's what we really hope to do, is to be able to expose people to the same beauty that we get to, I guess, wake up to and see every day. And, it does feel like a very special space, honestly, when you're in it. And we look forward to being able to share that in the appropriate capacity.
And like, when you're thinking, well, honestly, the whole thing, to be completely 100p with everybody, the whole idea started after, like, I think we were like several beers deep when
When all the best
When all-
ideas happen.
We
This
should
is when
buy
all
a
of it
farm.
That is
Oh,
exactly how this
yeah.
podcast got started.
Oh, hell yeah.
like let's just be honest. We had a few beers and we're like, we like craft beer. We love craft beer. And Greg is to me, he's like the most amazing. He loves science, and he's like the most amazing chemist, and like totally into science, and he loves doing things and creating things, and he's good at it, you know. And that's not my thing in terms. His strengths are so unique, and then I love working outside. I love working hard. My favorite job I've ever had in my entire life has been working on the grounds crew in college. You know what I mean? And so at the time that we came up with the business plan, I was working as an athletic trainer at the Ohio State University Medical Center in sports med, which I loved, but just kind of became a little bit disenchanted. I would say I became a little bit disenchanted with healthcare and the clinic setting, and so I was sort of looking for something more fulfilling, and being outside and working in the sun or rain or snow or whatever it be.
Maybe not snow.
Yeah, well, yeah, but whatever that brings, you know what I mean? I wanted to be outside. I wanted to just work hard with my hands and be involved in what I was doing, and being our own bosses. I think, yeah, just we get to dream up what we want to do, and so that sort of, after you've had a couple, you know, then that sort of became
the best ideas have come from there. Like,
exactly.
Well, all the negatives start to go away because they're
Totally. And
anything
that's
is possible at that point.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
6 beers in,
Exactly.
the world is your oyster.
Literally.
Yeah, so at the point where you feel like you're like, oh well, we could do that. How about a brew farm? That's a great idea. I like hops. You like hops. We like beer. I like working outside. My mom gardened when I was little. Then zero experience whatsoever. We're like, let's start a business. Let's do it.
So what you're telling me is when I pitched moving my hand tool workshop into our apartment, I should have gotten my wife drunk first.
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Yes.
Figure that's
Yeah.
how you got married. Like,
No. It's the other way around. She got me drunk.
And then, yeah, exactly. No, right? Yeah.
But okay, so we've talked about the cool things about buying a farm. What have been your biggest challenges?
Yeah, and especially Brett, to dovetail off that. I mean,
Stop
you're
stealing
running...
my questions.
No.
it's the only way Gordon gets
Not
it.
Yes.
It's not stealing, it's dovetailing.
You're
a good
running
woodworking
a
reference.
multifaceted business, which any of them could be a full-time gig. I mean,
That's true.
how do you do that on top of
Work a
what
real
is that?
job.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Good question.
No,
No.
I think we don't. I mean, let's be honest. Again, let's be 100p here. We're not pretending to like know shit about what we're and we don't know. We don't know what we're doing. But like, I think our goal is that we are keeping it small enough. Each facet of our business, we're keeping small enough that we're able to sustain it. Yeah, we're able to sustain it and keep it interesting and experiment and have fun with it. You know.
At the end of the day, I mean, each one of these facets, like you said, can be its own business, but we're looking to keep it at a level where we can maintain it. And that becomes relatively challenging to a certain extent, but at the beginning, owning your own business is always challenging. And so as we look to be our own proprietors in this business, we hope to expand on that with, increased employees and people that we can have sort of fulfill some of the roles and different challenges that we hope to address.
And I mean, what kind of challenges have you run into thus far?
I mean, there's a major challenge as far as just county and
Town.
municipality go. So it's things where if we lived with no rules, we wouldn't have to think about this stuff. We would have only the challenges that are pressed in front of us. But at the end of the day, we're responsible for more than that. And we need to allow our neighbors and therefore our county and municipality to have the opportunity to weigh in on some of the stuff that we want to do. The benefit to us is that we have our own private road. It's our challenge and it's our benefit. And the fact that we have our own private road. So it allows us to branch off of that and work from that. We're set off the road. We have a lot of positives working towards us and the capacity to just allow our own space. But we still, no matter what, by light, by sound, we affect our neighbors. And we want to be very responsible about how we go about that. And that's some of what we've been recently sort of discussing is we've got 2 weddings planned for this spring. And part of our discussion is the fact that we want to have our neighbors feel like, oh, wow. I mean, they had this wedding and we didn't even know it.
We've also found that beer is a very valuable currency.
No.
Really? That's really why I come over.
Not
here.
that I encouraged you 3 or 4 times to bring beer back down here.
Hashtag polar vortex.
Right? Yeah, fucking Mother Nature.
Yeah, but
Terrible.
So let's stick to criteria 1. So we have found that we feel like our neighbors will have concern about light pollution, sound pollution, and those relative concepts. What we hope to prove to them is that we can host weddings without having majority of concern regarding those factors. So that's one big thing for us. And because when you work within a small township like Pleasant Valley,
which is very pleasant.
it is quite pleasant.
Very pleasant.
They are very almost I would say aggressive towards change. They do not like change. They
Because
do not
it is
want
so pleasant
change.
as it is. It is really very pleasant.
It sounds like what you
If
would
you
name
did
something
not-
with
if
a
you-
seedy underbelly.
If you fucking did nothing ever, then you would stay in
I would
Pleasant
say
Valley.
I would say Hudson, Wisconsin city councils in the 1953, 1954 era. I would put Hammond in about 1929.
Yeah, put Pleasant Valley in 1700,
Oh,
and we're
stop
about
it.
right around.
Have you guys seen like or encountered a lot of resistance from the neighbors and the town council with what you want to do?
Not
All we have heard is support of ourselves within our neighbors,
yes.
which we are running for town council. I am personally running for town council.
Yes. That is a new venture.
So
to
No idea
But
what to
we just
expect.
want-
Now they have a
Fix it
full-time
from
job
the
in my
inside,
own
right?
company, so I'm going to
Yeah.
double down and run for political
yeah,
office.
right. Well,
Yeah,
and-
but politics is easy.
right. No.
Sure.
No, and I think what's important to us really is that we're gonna be here. We're here to stay, and we're gonna be here for a long time, and we want to be involved, and we want to be involved in the community, and
In a
so that-
positive way.
in a
very
positive
positive way.
and
yeah.
it's change can be positive, and we're excited to involve the community, right? So let's say someday we have a tap room, and we want to have a food truck for our tap room, and we've thought about doing like a co-op style food truck, right? So maybe our neighbor does grass-fed beef, and we do grass-fed beef tacos from our co-op food truck with our other neighbor who grows veggies, and it's an awesome taco,
I'm signed up.
Yeah, right?
You had me at taco.
I'll be
Yeah.
there.
That's all you have to say. Beer and tacos.
Grass-fed
Come
beef.
on.
Like
Alcohol?
I was
Yes.
stoked at grass-fed and like done.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, so
I thought you weren't vegan.
Oh.
You want it? We were having a good night, Casey. This is how you want to fight?
No, but I really think it just we want to involve we have a lot of challenges ahead, but I think we want to
That's-
involve our community.
That's the biggest thing that we really, both Kaaren and I are really focused on, is the capacity to involve our community in a way that we're able to utilize their agricultural resources.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they lose so much in serving to somebody that is, sort of mass production and doesn't know them and doesn't have any understanding of what they do. And so that's what we're sort of trying to change, at least to a certain extent. We just want to be able to support the people of our community. We'll start there. We'll build out from that point.
So, I kind of going back to that mass production aspect, in an era where, the quote-unquote family farm is kind of dying and being
You're
bought up by all these mega corporations and stuff like that, do you see your guys' model as a way to keep that family farm lifestyle alive?
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the big hope, is that we're able to, support these smaller farmers within our, again, small community in a way that allows them to continue to be successful
Yeah.
without needing to outsource to larger industrial companies that they lose their margin on.
Yeah. Well, even
wanna keep
your
'em-
farm itself, with your diversification in doing a wedding venue and
Right.
you're growing hops and you're brewing
Right. If one thing doesn't work out, we still have we are diversified, so that we
Beer is an industrial,
yeah.
It's
know,
never gonna go away.
exactly. And
Right.
and
They tried once.
They
Did not work.
it aggressively did not work. I mean, very.
They could try
aggressively.
again. A lot of us could get really rich.
Yeah, that's true.
Prohibition was a beautiful thing.
Right. But it,
Couldn't find a drink in the Roaring *20s, could you?
nowhere.
And my great grandma would disagree with you.
Right.
Bathtub gin.
But I do think though, sorry, I was looking away from the thing. No, but I just think I don't remember now. Sorry. Oh shoot, Craig.
Oh dear.
Stop it.
No, I just think that it's really important for us in terms of being local. That is a huge thing for us. The farm to table, farm to fist. We want to get to know your farmer, right? No one knows. You buy food at the grocery store, you don't know where you got it from.
Yeah, from the grocery store.
Right, you got it from right?
County market.
County Market is a
we're
really
drinking,
good chain.
We're drinking home brews right now, and we're lucky to know the brewer, right? But most of these beers, no one knows who the brewer is or how it got to this point.
They don't know the story behind it.
Right,
Yeah, I
exactly. So it's important to us to know
Where the
your
grain
farmer,
came from, where
know
the
your
hops
brewer,
came from,
right?
yeah.
Like get to know those people. We want to be personable and allow that opportunity for our patrons to get to know us. We don't care. I mean, like, please come to our farm. You know.
You know, the beautiful thing, like you guys are growing hops, but you're not growing grain. You know, we still
Correct.
need malt.
Right. Right.
So hopefully, even though a lot of people aren't growing grain anymore, but there are still some people out there
Right.
We do have
that's-
the intent,
to grow.
but we need to have the capacity to have somebody malt it for us. And
So
so,
you guys don't want to malt yourself then?
no, again,
whole
it's
nother-
like
Malting is.
it's
Talk about it.
it's so
The malt book. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
got a chapter into the malt book. And I was
malty.
like,
We got a pun master
Oh,
over
yeah.
here.
oh, Greg, you're so punny.
No, I think that's one of the appeals that that I find of a lot of the local breweries is that you can go in and you can talk to a lot of the people that are behind the scenes. That either the brewer, the salesperson, I started here on day one kind of thing. I mean, that's a huge.
Yeah.
That's what I geek
Well-
out on because, Grant, my entire full-time job is based on finding out those things.
We're also in a trend of hyper localization right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
kind of across everything as just like a direct backlash from globalization.
That appeal
It's
of
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad
No.
thing at all.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just-
right.
It is,
No.
but
It
it's
is,
where
but
we're
it
going.
is where we're at.
It's where we
The-
were before.
the
Yeah.
convenience of the Targets, the Walmarts, the Kmarts out there were great. They still are nice because I can get a lot of things from
Oh.
them. But I mean, the problem that I find with those big companies out there, even if you go to a Home Depot, Menards, or whatever, you go into their department and there's nobody working there. Or maybe there's one person that's covering 3 departments.
And they don't know shit.
No, exactly. They can't answer the questions. And I if I walk into let's say 50 years from now, mega breweries are now a thing. The Walmart's breweries.
What do you mean now a thing? They are a thing.
They are.
No, they're not. You can't walk into a place like Walmart-sized brewery. You can't go in there and go.
Have you ever heard
"Oh,
of Anheuser-Busch?
I've been there.
I said,
Maybe.
Fucking aging tank's bigger than this house.
I'm sorry. I was talking about real beer, not piss water.
Oh.
Okay, you want to go there?
I think it should be reclassified as sake.
You need to.
They can sue me for the all
respect
$2.26
what those
I'm
brewers
worth.
do. Like from a brewing standpoint, the big like InBev brewers
Real breweries don't use rice.
adjuncts are legitimate.
It is the
They are,
impressive
just
side
not
of big
fucking
brewing
rice.
is that it all tastes the same.
It all tastes. That is
Like-
fucking hard to do.
Yes, you know, and I mean the same can be true. The same can be said of like blended scotches and whiskeys.
Yep.
Like that's impressive. Being able to take things that taste drastically different and
I'm not
get them
saying
to
they're
a
not
point-
evil, but they're impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and,
you can be impressive
yeah.
and evil at the
Yep.
same time.
And I think I don't know. We like you look in before Christmas, right? And you've got all you have to do is look at Amazon and Target and Walmart and their competition. Literally, all in the news, it's the competition of who has got the best free 2-day shipping for something that you buy with the click of a mouse online. And it shows up at your door,
Yeah.
right?
It is
Who
convenient.
bullied the
It is
government the
convenient,
best?
right?
Some days I feel bad about that.
Yeah,
Right,
and
I know, and I love Amazon.
But
but
with
but-
breweries,
Right.
what I like to do is I like to be able to walk in, and I geek out on the fact that I can go and talk to you. Like the reason that I have all but lived at Pitchfork for the last 5 years.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, is that the reason I went in there, I had no idea what beer was. I didn't give a shit about beer. But Mike was in a similar field that I was in when he opened up
Right.
the brewery, and I could go in there, I could talk to him directly, and
I find it hard that Mike ever was nice to you.
I find it hard that anybody's ever nice to Gordon.
when I was a paying customer, he was, and then
That's-
all of a sudden I get a job, and now I'm fucking chopped liver.
Well, no, but I mean, it does speak to like getting to know what that means to the customer to be able to get to know.
Mike is a unique individual.
He
I think
is.
the word is surly.
Careful.
Well,
Careful.
Curmudgeon.
We get into like
Curmudgeon.
trademark.
Well, no, but surly is a fucking
TM.
word that I can use. Like,
Curmudgeon describes Mike.
He's never surly to me.
Mike is Mike. I mean, you're not having like I don't have a good day until I get at least once threatened to be stabbed in the eye. Twice I know I'm on track.
well, but he has to get the chair to stab you in the eye.
Step stool.
From
He
one
can't
midget
quite
about
make it on the
another.
chair yet.
Oh, I slipped.
I slipped 10 times.
10 times.
So,
Is that from Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
Kaaren, Greg, I mean, kind of joking off this. I mean, what are some of the rewards that you two have found of owning your own business and being able to do this?
So, I mean, one of the biggest things that I feel is that we have the capacity to be in control of what we want to do. And that's something that just is really hard to find in your typical sort of corporate America. And, we want to be able to make our impact on what we want to do as much as possible. And within our boundaries, we feel like we can do that. And, so...
I have a daily, low to moderate level of anxiety regarding our business.
That's what keeps you moving forward.
I like that. I like that.
But it's like a good kind of anxiety. You know what I mean? Because it's like my anxiety, and I've never been an anxious person in my life. Probably this is more motivated than I've ever really been in my life, and that's a good thing. Like I am motivated because it's like I'm really excited about it, and I want to be good. I want to put good stuff out there for people, and I just really want us to be I don't know, the best. That's whatever, but like I want us to have put high quality stuff out there, and that's important. And I want to, if people get married at our place, I want them to have the best day ever, and so I want to do everything that we can to make that happen. And so hence constant moderate level of anxiety regarding it, but it's a positive thing. I think.
That's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. Like that's the thing that keeps you going. That's the thing that keeps you working through the rain. And
Also my
bullshit
bladder,
but yes.
Folks, we have liquid beer.
Oh,
Hey!
I can't believe
Liquidation.
Libation.
as opposed to solid beer. If we could get beer in like a
They were solid.
like a pill,
Not only moments ago.
Now, the two of you, before you decided to open up your company, I mean, what were you doing beforehand? And I mean, do either of you have experience in any of these fields?
no.
Neither of us have any individual business experience.
Correct.
So what was the conversation like that you're like, what the hell? Let's open up a brew farm, brewery, wedding event. How did that go?
Well, it did evolve over time. It started with
really quick. What is the timeline from like the first conversation to we're looking for a farm?
this is a different one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's our jalapeno lime one. That's questionable. It's
All right, well,
questionable.
I'm going to try that one first, and
Yeah.
then...
That's a question. Sorry.
This one smells like fresh bread, and
We're-
it's delightful.
We're trying beers now that they're melted.
I fixed them.
Two of us have fresh hops with
Yeah, what did you pour
no,
me?
it's
by the way?
you have the fresh hop.
Okay.
That's with nugget.
Nougat. That is really good.
Like we said in
Caramely.
the previews going up to
Nugget and
this week's
Bianca.
episode, you can taste beer and smell flowers through the headphones,
The
folks.
headphones. Yeah,
That
it's
is
true.
not the first time a bottle has been slammed on this table. Won't be the last.
It's a super nice table, though.
Anyway, going back to the question. Sorry. I asked, going into this, what kind of experience do you guys have? I mean, going from opening up a multifaceted business such as you have. I mean, what kind of background do you have into it?
Yeah, we don't have any background. No. So I worked grounds. Greg is.
That's not good.
Greg is an.
Yeah.
The aroma's fantastic.
I just said it smells amazing.
The taste needs a little bit of
interrupt.
Is that the jalapeno lime one?
It smells absolutely fucking amazing.
The aroma's fantastic.
And you get a little jalapeno kick.
A little bit.
You let that settle for a minute.
So we used Felicity peppers, which they're a type of jalapeno pepper without the spice, basically. So
It's
Felicity
supposed
peppers.
to-
So it's a
are-
broken pepper?
It's like,
defective.
It's like a bipolar pepper. It doesn't understand what it's supposed
very
to
confused
do.
about its identity. No, it's
Who am I?
What is my purpose?
not that spicy. No, we really part of our goal is to, like, as a brew farm, is to grow our own ingredients that we add to our beer. So we grew a ton of Felicity peppers and thought, let's try them in a beer.
The Felicities had a great component. They were interrupted by a number of other
Roadblocks.
administrative roadblocks.
So
user
as far
error.
as the road.
I mean, can we talk about the beers a second? Like,
Yeah.
The first one was a fresh hop. I'm
Yep.
guessing you guys supplied the hops. What was
Yep.
what was the grist looking like on that?
So my dad actually provided the hops on that, and it
Okay.
was
He was
2 binds.
yeah.
Four-
Greg's
4
dad.
binds.
Yeah, Greg's
4
dad
binds.
is just like such a kindred spirit. He heard what we were doing, got really curious about it, and thought, I'm gonna buy a couple of plants, and planted them. And then through us was then able to learn. I was working at a hop farm while he planted them, and then was able to kind of guide through how to make that happen. And then we just for fun harvested those plants, and for fun used them in a beer, and it turned out this way.
It great, like really good, like hop character, nice, soft, rounded. It's fantastic.
The vast majority we added at the end of the boil,
Okay.
right? So within probably 10 minutes of the end of the boil, we added, I'd say probably 90%.
So I'm getting a lot of like caramel notes and stuff. Did you guys use a lot of like high crystal in there, or?
We did not. It was, so what were the hops?
Well, I know.
yeah.
Sorry. Malt side.
So malt side of hopping, we did not do any crystal malting. We did only
Was it just like straight 2-row and?
You really got to make out with that thing.
Yeah. Eat the microphone.
it really was mostly 2-row.
Okay. All right.
To be completely honest.
Is so on the brewing side, is there a style of beer that you particularly like to make, or would consider your specialty? Like, are you a pale ale guy, like, or do you brew like English styles? Like, what's
Preference is on hopping.
Your... Okay,
Yeah.
so just like
See,
a lot of
but-
like American pale ales and IPAs and.
You know, the relative concept would be that you have really awesome IPAs and pale ales too, and then also you have unique sort of offset maybe ales or lagers that still have good hop character to them, but that's not the primary component.
Okay.
So, I definitely think that where I love playing around with the ingredient list the most
Is with the hops.
So
So simple, like you keep it simple on the malt bill, and then just fuck around.
I think
the
that's where it starts. And then
yeah.
once you start to refine and say, "Oh my gosh, like this IPA was really good." But you always have some criticism to it. I mean, she's my
I'm not a
Critic
jerk
song.
about it.
No,
not
I'm
jerk
I'm
about
a
it, but-
firm believer that no brewer has ever 100% loved a beer that they've made.
Right,
it's
'cause
they've You
think-
always know what's wrong with it.
You always
Absolutely.
think about like what could I do, and that's what
How
I
do
really
I fix
appreciate
it?
about
It
Greg,
seems
is that
not
he has
right
that
if you
attitude.
feel like what you did was perfect.
That's the sign of a shitty
That
brewer.
that just can't be right. That just
That's
can't
true of
be.
anything. That's true of
I'll be
anything.
completely
Right.
honest with you. Like that just cannot be right. I mean, you can love what you did. I mean, I
And you
had
can be
a
happy with it.
honey lemon pale ale that I made.
That sounds
and
fantastic.
and it was incredible. I loved it. But I had neighbors that I shared it with, and they were like, "Yeah, we like the other one better." And it was like the other one was one that I was like, it's fine, whatever. And they were like, "Yeah, we love that one, but we, thought the honey lemon pale ale that was just fine." Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay.
I was like, "You're psycho."
oh,
Yeah.
stop. No, but I
You're
think
wrong.
Even though we
Wrong, bitch.
wrong. Even though we want to, like,
Truly.
our main focus is playing around with the hops, I think I mean, a lot of people come in to
There's
tap
just a
room
lot that you learn to the process.
that say, "Oh, I don't like hoppy beers."
And
I
I've
don't
given
like hoppy
samples
beers.
of
I don't like
a-
beer at all.
I don't
I
like
really
hoppy
don't.
beers.
Wait,
But
I'm
really,
at a brewery and I don't like beer.
oh,
Can you make me? Can you make me a
What
Long
should I
Island
do?
iced tea real quick?
What's the
Please.
closest thing you got to Coors back there?
I've heard that question more than once.
Here's some
'Cause it
fucking
works.
water, you cunt.
Gregory. Oh my gosh,
I
I
used
don't
to-
condone that word.
I
Have
used
the
to think,
cunt dinger.
Unbelievable.
I used to think I was sensitive.
sorry.
I get hit at home when I say that. So
Doug and Chris, I'm
No,
sorry.
I've had
We
folks
get a
come
bell.
in and go, "Oh, what's your least hoppy beer?" And I give them Pilsner, and they kind of scorn at me. I'm like, "Oh, that's too hoppy." I'm like,
if a pilsner's
It's
too
a-
hoppy, you don't like beer and you need to go away.
"Right,
Just go kill yourself.
Yeah,
Oh, boy. Oh my goodness. We're losing control.
So wrapping up.
oh no, I got more questions. We're still good.
Oh no.
Oh,
We're
he
over-
finally has questions.
It takes him a while to warm up. You know?
Now we're in 15 in.
Oh, we're back on script.
No, thanks to you two.
Whoa! I think I wrote half that script last night.
You wrote maybe a quarter.
Yeah, but I brought my wife,
I
and
defrosted.
she wrote most.
I don't.
Okay, so
Most important.
she wrote a quarter, and you just kind of sat there.
All right, well, that is something for an after show. We'll talk to the guests.
We kind of touched base a little bit. Greg, you were a PA, or you were going to school as a PA, and you now work at Hudson as a PA. And Kaaren, you mentioned that you worked at a hop farm for a little bit. How has your background experience, or what was it like working outside of this field as, and then deciding, fuck it, let's open up a business together. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I think we came up with a business idea, and then we both thought, well, we're crazy, and that's a silly idea because neither one of us have really any true experience doing this. And Greg doesn't really do anything halfway, I would say. Like
There's trombone practice
yeah,
from 6th
That
and
goes
7th
way
grade.
back, way back. But Greg,
Trombone. Fuck it.
Gordon
Greg-
has a trombone. Or
Greg is losing it. But no, he truly, like, when he gets excited about something, he doesn't do it halfway. So he got into homebrewing, totally the rest is history, right?
How long have you been brewing? Just sorry.
Yeah,
to,
no.
As an aside.
Since 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So over
2015.
4 years
Yeah,
now.
4 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But you with everything there's.
I would say at a very basic level for at least 2 years, and
Doing
increase-
like extract kits, or did you go straight full grain?
I did one extract,
Probably like
and
Didn't you say that you had a Mr.
Wow,
Beer
Casey,
kit
first
that
time
went
for beer.
really
Yeah.
going bad?
Our first
that
kit?
that Mr.
Oh
Beer
my gosh.
extract kit. I mean, that's what
So-
started us, and
and it tasted so
I think
bad.
I think
It was
everybody
fucking-
started with a
it
Mr.
was
Beer kit,
Yeah.
like
fucking
because it's like
terrible.
$30 at
Jesus.
Walmart. Like
Yeah, we finished the beer. We like did the whole process. I'm
could
so
hardly
excited.
finish it.
And we finished. We
There was
drank the
nothing
beer. It was
bad
so
with it.
bad.
There was nothing bad about it, but we kept questioning, like, there's something wrong with it. It doesn't taste good.
Yeah,
because like that uses the pre-hopped extract, doesn't it? So you basically
Yeah.
just take the can and pour it in some water and then
Yeah.
put it in the
Yes.
thing.
Exactly.
and we thought, really?
It was way
It has
off.
to be harder than this.
Yeah, but it has to taste better than this. Yeah.
Actually, I kind of want to brew a Mr. Beer kit.
I was
now
working at
just to see-
J.C. Penney's when we sold the Mr. Beer kit for the holiday season,
Yeah.
and that was like my first. I didn't think homebrew was a thing until I saw that kit, and I saw like I worked in receiving, and so I opened up a kit, and I'm like, what the fuck? Anybody would buy this to brew?
Yeah.
It's plastic.
But it
is-
comes
Who
in a
buy
really
this?
cool plastic barrel.
And it
is
looks like a barrel.
Yeah.
And it sits in your
all
refrigerator.
plastic. Yes, it is all
Barrel
plastic.
of fun.
Barrel of fun.
Barrel of the
Hashtag barrel
barrel.
of shit.
So that was our first experience brewing, and then and then I think that like really lit a fire under Greg because he was like, no.
I can do
like-
better.
Yeah.
So, all right. Brief little interception
Oh,
here.
boy.
All right, so I really love cooking. So cooking is something that I truly enjoy, and whatever the meal might be, I made us some tomato soup out of a bunch of random things that we had in
I bet
the fridge
tomatoes is one of the
today, and it was great.
It was
Like
on the ingredient list.
tomatoes, tomato. It was included in the list. Yes. So I really enjoy doing things like that, where I sort of mix things up in a random fashion, and it's fun, and you get the chance to enjoy it. But brewing for me is that same sort of concept, but there's a lot more science to it, similar to baking, I guess, to a certain extent, where you gotta have the right sort of rising ingredients or whatever it might be. And that's what I like about beer, is that you get that opportunity to introduce your own flavors, but also you have to maintain the property of producing quality beer. Otherwise, it's all lost.
I know you
And-
give one bottle of shit tea to somebody, and
That's
They get
exactly
mad.
that's exactly right. No,
That was my favorite beer, Casey. You know what we're talking about.
God damn, that beer was the worst.
I would say
The saw tea,
between
I call it the shit tea because it was.
I've heard about that actually.
Yeah.
Pitchfork. It's legendary.
Yeah, it is legendary. It is legendary. Because right before that, I gave him the tropical stout, and they're like, "This is the best thing ever." And then I gave him that one, and they're like, "Nope."
Yeah.
shit tea.
I've
No,
heard about that.
So yeah, it's a traditional no boil Scandinavian beer, and so I think it came in at like 10%.
Wolf.
But I had
Sessionable.
I had to filter it through juniper boughs,
Sessionable.
Oof.
and so like it picked up just a ton of bugs and soured immediately. but it's no boil, and so it's supposed to do, and you're supposed to drink it young. So like as soon as it hits that like your final gravity, you're supposed to just start drinking it, and it's super like ginny and
I like
boozy.
gin.
I did not like
Intense.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit intense.
it. It's terrible.
Yeah. Oofta. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Greg, yeah, so neither one of us had any experience. When we figured out what we wanted to do, I did actually get a job on a hop farm.
Which was we've talked off air before, Mighty Axe.
Yeah, Mighty
right?
Axe
Okay.
Hops. Yeah. So basically, once we figured out, we're like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's do it and just see if this is something that is going to work for us. Greg continued PA school in Ohio, and I took a job in Minnesota.
Which, real quick, why Ohio? You realize there's like 49
Ohio,
other
Ohio.
states.
This is true. My my brother,
Iowa doesn't count. There's 48.
Hey.
Don't say that in front of my wife.
Ohio, not Iowa.
So you're saying there's 47?
Yeah.
my brother was working at Ohio State.
Okay.
And so he had a couple kids. And I thought, well, you know, if I can't go to, I mean, certainly I have the option of going to PA school in St. Paul or Minneapolis
Or New Jersey, where his, at the time, girlfriend was living and working.
or
Oh, you could have been in Jersey.
Yeah.
Or Madison,
Shots
you know,
fired.
the good state.
I applied to UW. They did not accept me.
Oh, what a bunch of bastards.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
It truly was, especially given the fact that I had spent a year solid with them.
Okay, well, relax. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's no
Digging up
like
old
animosity
memories.
there at all.
Calm down
Yeah,
now.
very old memories. Anyways, so you know, I was very happy to go to Columbus, where my brother was, and
Said no one ever.
and continue with school. And I really did. I really did love their PA school. I mean, I wouldn't say it if I did not. I thought that they were very excellent as far as how they went about their program and everything that was involved with it. So I think they have a very high level PA program. It's probably within the top in the state. There's no doubt. That just is what it is. But anyways, so from looking at that Ticonderoga in the corner there, I feel like I better shorten up my answer. And say,
Again, English, but for those of us that drink beer.
what is that?
What?
The Indian. Face.
That's Aku Aku from
Jesus Christ.
Crash Bandicoot?
from Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
I thought it was Ticonderoga.
No, that's Aku Aku. So we do like we occasionally do like video game live streams, and we played through all of Crash Bandicoot 3 doing shots. And every time Aku Aku showed up, we did a shot. And so we had Aku Aku hanging out in the background.
Ouch. Ouch.
I was looking at the
I
pirate
think
flag
that takes
and
me
the
way
apron,
back
like,
to like
what?
the original 2000
Yeah.
PS1.
Yep. Oh, and that's what we played it
Yeah,
on.
yep. And
I love
playing
it.
Crash Bandicoot until literally I vomited because I couldn't handle the way that.
That's what happened in 2.
But this, I mean, I was 12 and didn't have any alcohol, so
Cool.
We
though.
did not have that.
That's cool. Though. Super cool.
Greg, working, graduating and now working as a PA. I mean, how or where do you manage being full-time employee and then you come home and now you're business partner and also being a spouse? I mean, how do you balance all that?
I mean, it's certainly challenging. You know, like I have.
Whoa. Watch what he does. That is the best use of a wedding
Talk
ring
about
I have
being a
ever
spouse.
seen.
That's the best use of a spouse.
That almost makes me want to put my ring back on.
But then how you gonna be a player?
For those of you that didn't see, Greg
Megan, if you're listening, you're still my favorite. I can't speak for Ben.
She's my favorite too.
Oh,
Yeah, but you're
Go
not
away.
wearing your ring.
Neither is she.
Sure.
Gordon lost his R's. We should probably stop.
They ran upstairs, goddamn. I'll go find them.
They're gone. They're gone.
Greg, how do you maintain
Given-
being a good spouse?
Yeah.
So-
How do you balance out spouse,
This is the
business
couples
owner,
therapy.
and
Coming from the
show.
fucking
And a full-time
spouse.
Overweight.
Way to go off that.
Don't
fucking
make
deep
me
end,
get
Gordon.
the bell.
It's already been out twice.
As long as the belt doesn't come out, we're all good. No. So, you know, I mean, again, obviously, it's challenging. Owning your own business and operating that at the same time is continuing to be compliant within the standards of what is expected within your healthcare provider, sort of prescription. That's challenging, but at the end of the day, what I mostly want is for Kaaren to be happy, and I know that sounds a little bit maybe cheesy.
Wait, there's cheese?
Oh, that would make this
I love
better.
cheese.
that was
Tons of
episode
cheese.
15.
She loves
I
cheese.
do. I'm a snacker.
And you are now on the right side of the board.
Colby Jack.
Or
Anyways.
provolone.
Anyways. So, you know, like, I really want her to be happy. I want myself to be happy. What makes me happy is being able to help people, though. So whether or not I'm working in the, sort of fixture of having full-time and a little bit of part-time in between there, that works great for me. You know, at the end of the day, my schedule is relatively fixed. Hers is what is not fixed. And she does a lot within that schedule that I could not even imagine being able to complete. So at the end of the day, she is very successful within what she does within the business, and I feel like I do my part to earn the objective monetary function that allows us to continue with what we want to do.
There was a lot of words in there.
translated-
I'm pretty much
Let me
saying
translate.
like.
Let me translate. Greg earns the big bucks by his day job that allows me and us both to do what we love and what we want to do. I think that's really important to me and to both of us. Like, if Greg didn't work so hard and do what he does, we wouldn't be able to do what we want to do and support our dreams. So, yeah, that's important.
And you mentioned earlier, you want to keep it small and manageable. I mean, what do your plans look like, if any, to expand? Whether, let's say, 10 to
The
15, 25%.
The expansion is, there may be. We have considered expansion with hops. That's literally the only crop that we've considered expansion upon.
But I think in our
It
5-year
depends.
yeah.
Within our 5-year plan, we really don't consider it
We're
much.
hoping
It's
to open
just
a.
hops.
We're hoping to open a tap room in 5 years.
Do you have
Is
a
where we're
yeah? So if that's your best case scenario, you open the tap room. What's your worst case scenario? Assuming weather
Right.
is absolute shit, like 2013,
or-
where we have a snowstorm the 1st
Right.
of June.
Right. Well, and hopefully the art variation. So I've got flowers. I mean, I will have flowers ready this summer. Or we've got our wedding venue. So maybe we don't have flowers and we outsource that, but people can get married on our property. Or maybe we're not allowed legally to brew beer on our property and sell it, but we can grow hops and sell those to other brewers. Or you know what I mean? We that's sort of the advantage.
We'd either grow industrial.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, don't even get into this. Greg wants to go to industrial hemp,
Yeah.
which is
recreational marijuana.
yeah, which is like a whole nother.
We have a Democratic
facet.
governor now. It's soon to happen.
It's
I know.
I mean it's a race
But
between
it's-
us and Minnesota.
It's not as simple as just.
Wisconsin used to be the primary industrial hemp producer, and
Since
Really?
now
when?
they are not. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the point is, we have so
Now
many
they're
things
far from
going
it.
on for us right now that to take on another facet of our business might be really challenging.
Well,
I'm a
You
really
know,
good
whatever.
sales rep if
Deserve
you want to
fans.
hire anybody.
It kind of
depends on
sells
the
itself.
percentage.
I've officially had too much.
And
I've had the right amount. I'm pretty good.
I mean, I'm solid, but I just said diversify. So.
And Greg,
All right, is there something that you'd like to leave people with, like as we start to wrap up?
We really
got-
need to
I got-
wrap up.
yeah,
I got two questions. Then that'll be said.
Go ahead, please, Gordon.
Greg, I mean, do you see yourself, let's say 5 years or 10 years from now, still working as a PA while trying to run this, or do you want to move to, your farm to fist company full time?
That's a very good question. So, my ideal is that I'm primarily able to focus on our work and our company and what is at hand with related to that. At the end of the day, it depends a little bit on how Hudson Physicians continues to grow and whether or not that allows me to be in a position where I can continue to be within that group and grow my own independent practice. Because I will tell you, I love treating patients. I love being a part of each individual's care. And that becomes challenging as you get away from it. Part of what I'm considering is education, either at UW River Falls or UW Eau Claire. Both are good options for me. And
I will support UWRF.
But he won't
That's
work
true.
there anymore.
I don't work there anymore, but I am an alumni. So
UWRF does not have an athletic training program, and
surprisingly, but they do. Health and Human Performances is a really good.
they
Blue
do
University.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like within that program, I could be able to have some functionality, or within UW Eau Claire's athletic training program, which is where I started, I would have some potential functionality as well. And so, again, at the end of the day, it just depends on how successful we are and where we're at with everything. But, I think I would sort of say that's my end game. If everything
Is
works
teaching.
out, if everything works out perfectly, if everything does not work out perfectly, I am still fine with and very in love with my PA profession, working within sports and spine at Hudson Physicians for a number of years. I have no concern about that. I love that position that I work within. And that certainly allows us to be able to continue to support what Kaaren does and our own internal positions.
And you said you're both, you're both happy with being in the St. Croix Valley area. I mean, as things continue to grow, do you see yourselves staying in this area? Do you
Oh,
do you
yeah.
want to grow to somewhere that
Oh
might?
no. We love where we're at. Yeah. And I think we're planning on staying where we're at, where we want to stay local. We want to be local. We want to grow our family where we're at. We bought our farm for that purpose. And yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for us to stay local and sell local and sell locally. And yeah, we want to stay where we're at. we really love the area. So yeah.
Casey, Ben, do either of you have any more questions?
I've been trying to get you wrap up for like an hour.
No, I am great. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Greg, Kaaren, I mean, anybody that's kind of on the, if they're on the fence of whether or not they want to go into any of these industries, commercially or even as a hobby, I mean, do you have any parting advice for them?
Good luck. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's awesome. It's really fun.
It is really fun. You just have to maintain the fact that if you're looking at stuff like this, you're a dreamer.
We're both dreamers.
We both are.
dreamers.
Two
And,
dreamers. That's
Two
never
dreamers.
good.
And then the thing is that then I'm like, oh man,
There are logistics.
I know. I become the
She's the
logistics
logistics.
person. And
You're the logistics dreamer. That's the worst.
I know.
I dream about
Don't tell me.
Tetris all the time.
Do I do the block or the No, so I think that sometimes I come across in the relationship as the rainer on the parader.
You and my wife would
to
get
be
along.
fair, a parade needs some rain.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
It needs to be dampened every once in a while.
But I think
This is true.
we're both dream. We love both dreaming, but we also need to think logistically. We do, and what is feasible and what can actually happen. So we make it work. But yeah, I think this summer, I don't know if we are wrapping up. Are we wrapping up? Okay, cool. So if you're thank you. If you are looking for any Farm to Fist stuff, this summer, beer is on a do you know us basis. You can get it for free, but flowers you can get at you have three different options this summer. One, I'll be at the Uptown Farmers Market, East Isles Farmers Market on Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m. This summer. It's in the heart of Uptown Minneapolis. If you're located in the Hudson area, I'll be there on Saturday mornings from 9 to noon at Barlow Roots Market. And we're actually selling flowers out of Farm to Fist itself. You can come see our farm on Fridays, Friday afternoons.
Do you guys have an online presence at all for our out-of-state listeners?
Yes, www.farm2fist.com.
And that's farm T-O Fist or
Farm
the number 2?
T-O Fist.
Okay.
Farm2fist.com. And that'll tell you a little bit more about us and our farm and our flowers and our beer, etc.
All right.
Woof. Wow.
Appreciate it, folks. Thanks for
Wow.
listening to Rules of the Arena, episode 19. Make sure to go check out www.farm2fist.com. That's farm2fish.com. And go buy some goddamn flowers. If you're local, go check out the different markets that they're going to be located at this week. And thanks again to my sponsors, Blind Ninja Studios and Duck Hill Workshop. Go check them out as well. And I will check you out the next time. Thank you.